Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus channel. Nearly all of the operations that the United States Coast Guard fulfills take place on or near the water, which poses various challenges for those enlisted in the organization, their vehicles, and their equipment. These include maritime security, law enforcement, and search and rescue functions. In order to ensure its men and women can handle anything Mother Nature throws their way, the Coast Guard has set up several exercises, drills, and challenges. Perhaps the most intense of all is surf training. This refers to one's ability to operate a boat amidst huge waves and extreme weather conditions. Both man and machine are put to the test in these trials, but they are crucial to ensuring the Coast Guard can perform its mission and save lives regardless of the situation. Surf training must take place in rough waters, like those found in Oregon's Yaquina Bay. During these exercises, a number of different sized boats are used, including motor lifeboats ranging from 44 to 52 feet long. Oftentimes, smaller, lighter boats are also used, presenting an even bigger challenge to the pilot and the crew. These vessels, known affectionately as surf boats, are specifically designed to operate in these conditions so they can reach ships or people in distress. The challenge associated with surf training is anticipating the waves and keeping the bow of the ship pointed directly towards the incoming surf. If the pilot fails at this, it drastically increases the chances that the waves might strike the side of the ship, causing it to roll and potentially capsize. Coast Guard enlisted who qualify to operate surf boats in these conditions are awarded the Surfman's Badge, which is highly prized at all levels of the organization. Qualifying for the badge takes at least 8 years of training and experience, and can include tests where a crew member must tackle the surf on their own in a jet ski. The smaller size and faster speeds associated with these boats make them integral to rescuing lone swimmers or survivors. However, it also makes them much more susceptible to waves and wind. Surf training goes back decades, and the Coast Guard have utilized a variety of different motorized lifeboats in order to maximize their effectiveness. These MLBs can be both inflatable or rigid hulled, but they are specifically intended to withstand rough water conditions and heavy waves. They are typically slow-moving, as speed is not a worry when it comes to tackling rough water. Newer models also incorporate increased capacity and improved hull designs that heavily reduce and even potentially eliminate the possibility of capsizing. as these boats must go directly over the waves they encounter. The hulls must be reinforced to absorb the impact of repeatedly crashing back down onto the surface of the water. In recent years, companies like Rafnar Maritime have invested significant time and funds into developing self-righting boat hulls. Located in Iceland, Rafnar is no stranger to rough conditions and difficult weather. Even in the event the boat is turned completely upside down, it will right itself in a matter of seconds, allowing the rescue mission to carry on. The hulls are based on highly advanced computer models and are also capable of reducing slamming impacts by up to 95%. This technology is quite new, but the boat has performed admirably in tests. Since it is watertight and air-filled, those inside the cabin can remain protected while the boat is rightening itself. At the moment, Rafnar offers 4 hull sizes in all, with designs for leisure, professional, and tactical situations. Ideas like this have the potential to completely revolutionize both military and Coast Guard boats in the very near future. The Coast Guard is not the only organization that has to tackle heavy waves. Large naval vessels are often tasked with navigating difficult waters while performing their duties. Though larger ships are less likely to capsize in these conditions, those on board are no less impacted by the high winds and crashing waves. Even though these ships contain advanced stabilizing technology, it's easy for people to lose their balance or for equipment to be damaged by constant movement. Unfortunately, because the crews are on a mission, they need to continue with their daily duties no matter how rough the seas get. In order to protect themselves, many will take Dramamine to cope with the rocking. Of course, the real work during a storm is done at the helm. Here, the captain, pilot, and navigators will work to find ways around approaching storms. However, if they do encounter one, they must go straight into it if they want to minimize damage to the ship. When facing rough seas, aircraft carriers often have to circumvent significant challenges. For starters, the average Nimitz-class carrier is nearly 1,100 feet long and weighs around 100,000 tons. Moreover, they stand as much as 134 feet from the waterline. In a storm, as much as 41 feet of the boat is under the waterline and subject to the constant moving of the waves. Though sailors can cope with this the same way they might aboard a destroyer, those on the flight deck must take special precautions. Not only do they need to contend with the water on the deck, but planes and helicopters attempting to land must account for the rolling effect. Meanwhile, everyone involved must deal with the reduced visibility, wet equipment, and increased chance of injury. It's tempting to assume that vertical takeoff and landing aircraft like helicopters would be better suited to performing in rough weather. Unfortunately, helicopter pilots and flight deck crews often find touching down on a moving flight deck just as challenging, if not more. Helicopters are highly susceptible to strong winds, especially when hovering. So while this pilot is trying to maintain the aircraft's stability, he or she must watch the deck for and avoid touching down at the wrong moment. It only takes one rogue wave or heavy gust of wind to turn this simple scenario into a dangerous or deadly one. Aircraft carriers are among the largest and most expensive weapons of war ever constructed. As such, they are required to stand up to more than just bad weather and waves. They must also undergo full ship shock trials, where high-powered explosives are set off near the ship to see how well its hull, electronics, and weapon systems stand up to the impact. Such a trial took place in June of 2021, when the U.S. military's newest and largest carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, was exposed to multiple explosives at varying instances. Though the hull of this ship is heavily armored, these blasts can still do significant damage, and it's important for the Navy to know just how the ship will react in an actual wartime scenario. Despite their impressive resilience to attack, aircraft carriers have more options than simply sitting there and absorbing the explosions. Indeed, despite their massive size and bulk, modern U.S. carriers are surprisingly fast and nimble. Here, a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier, the predecessor to the Gerald R. Ford class, can be seen practicing evasive maneuver techniques in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The carrier is equipped with 4 powerful steam turbine engines and a nuclear reactor to generate power. As a result, the 100,000-ton ship can reach speeds of around 35 miles per hour, allowing it to manipulate its rudder for impressive high-speed turns. If a Nimitz-class carrier were to be targeted by an enemy, it would be able to cover roughly 700 square miles in just half an hour. Even the most advanced sonar and radar would have trouble pinpointing the exact location of the ship, which would give it a chance to escape or launch a counterattack. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.